introduced yourself, and I think I called you the wrong name. You knew me, not Naomi.
Naomi.
Oh, yes.
Now-
Okay,
now
glad
I
you
get-
pointed
okay,
it
thank
out.
you. I,
It's spelled the same.
just to make it more confusing, right? Well, and my brain at this point is so bad at names that, you know, I will remember your face, but I may not remember.
I'm like that too, don't worry. So, welcome to our
Okay.
class, I'm glad you came, thank you for coming, we weren't even sure if anyone was gonna show up today, so this is good, it makes up for all this. All right, so I'll start with, we're gonna talk about fermentation. And like we were saying just now, it's like the oldest way to preserve food, right? So it's nothing new, and in fact, it's just a very practical way to use what you have and preserve what you grew if you have a garden. So the equipment you'll need, because it's ancient techniques, salt. So it's usually recommended you can use the canning and pickling salt. It's a little bit different. Or I also use like diamond crystal kosher salt too, depending on what you're making.
So that's partly because it's non-iodized, right?
Right.
Okay.
And
Because that does
yeah.
something.
And I mean, you can just use a knife, but if you ever go to like an Asian market where they sell other things, this is something that's very handy, and this will help you if you don't have a food processor or something like that, to slice like vegetables really quickly. It's a mandolin, and of course you could use something like this too. This one works, but I think it's more awkward, because the shape, and it's not as sharp. This is so sharp that when I put it away, I always wrap it. So I have this little wax bag that I wrap it in, because if you accidentally touch it, you won't cut yourself too.
Those scare me.
Yeah. So this is what I like to use, but use what you have. And the other equipment you need are things like cutting board. And I'm assuming you cook. I wasn't sure if the people who came would be people who cooked or younger people, like my kids who are like, what do I need? And you tell them everything. But a peeler is handy, tongs, a wood spoon or something, spatula, something like that to press down on. And measuring equipment. And glass is best. Glass or like something like kimchi, the traditional way to preserve it is in like a crock, earthen crock. But make sure that it's lead-free and it's food safe, because not every ceramic container is. So you have to make sure that that's what it's for. And you can usually find things like that if you go to markets like more ethnic markets, so places where they actually still make pickles and preserves. So like Korean market, the H Marts, or like Chinatown, places like that, Vietnamese market, probably, places where they still do traditional things, you'll find those things. And they're not usually very expensive. And it's worth it because it's something you can keep using. So anyway, we'll start with the equipment I like to use. So this is just a regular canning jar. And this is the handiest thing that I ever discovered, because it fits just well, exactly on top like this. So when you fill a jar, it's just so much easier than having it spill all over the place. And most funnels are, they're skinny, so you can't do it. This is especially this is for canning. So if you go to the sort of canning area in the store, like Target or Walmart or wherever you go, then you usually find all these things in the same place. And another thing that I found that I went back and I couldn't find again, so I think it's like on and off, is this is a pickling jar thing. Sorry, my hand, I was attacked by a greyhound, and yeah, so I'm not having a lot of luck with grabbing things right now, but
That's a giant spring.
it is, it's a giant spring. And if you look at this lid, it's plastic. And plastic is always better if you're using especially vinegar, because you don't want it to corrode. And they sell that in the same area. But it's got air holes. So it helps to let your pickles breathe. And when you're starting ferments, usually if you don't have this, which I didn't in the beginning, you can just put cheesecloth or some clean cloth and like a rubber band, just hold it down or tie it down so that it breathes, because fermentation requires air. But you want to keep it clean too. So,
May I take a picture of
Oh,
that
of
before
course,
you put the
yeah.
lid on? Because
Yes.
that's really
Do you
cool.
eventually make it air without the holes, or you
yeah,
always keep it?
Well, I like to just keep it like this so that way it just,
Always does that.
Yeah. All right, so anyway, we're just talking about the kind of equipment you can use. No,
Scheme
it's
of
fine.
work.
So glass or ceramic, we just said to make pickles is better. But make sure if you use a ceramic kind of pickling jar or container that it's food safe and you can use it for that, because there are different glazes and you don't want it to react to the glaze in the wrong way. Okay, so that's the jar. And this is the usual lid you find in the canning jar. So if you do heat pickles, then you need this and you'll boil it. But before you start any kind of pickling, one really important thing is to make sure everything is sterilized, because you're going to have it sitting for a while. You don't want it to pick up anything that shouldn't be there. So even this jar, before I use it, I boiled it for 10 minutes and made sure everything was sterile before starting. And actually your handout, so the first one we're looking at is the sauerkraut. I don't know if it's in there. If it's not in there, then Mark is going to send you the link. So this sauerkraut recipe that I'm going to use is from the Penn State Extension, and it gives you a lot of detail. So it tells you all about how to, maybe you don't have it, it's a lot. Okay, so he'll send you the link. But it tells you the proportions, how to sterilize, how to do everything depending on your altitude. Like if you try to do it in high altitude, things change. So it has all that information on here. So I know you can read it, so I'm not going to go through everything. But I will show you, because the most important part is kind of to see it and to understand how it should look and feel. All right, so our equipment, these are the things that we use. Tongs, wood, peeler, and grains. So I'm going to put these aside. And then we'll start with sauerkraut. All right, so the recipe, and I'm just going to read it for you, for the sauerkraut is you can make this is a quart, so 2 quarts out of a 5-pound cabbage. So this is about 5 pounds. I think it's like 4.9 pounds. But I wanted you to see the size so you can guess, like it's about this size. And sometimes when you go to the supermarket, they don't always have a scale anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just, like figure this is, I don't know, the size of your head, of a small ball, then once you see it, you can understand what it'd be like. And sauerkraut really tastes better. Cruciferous vegetables taste better when it's sort of this season because they firm up and there's a sweetness to it because it's cooler. So this is a good time to make stuff like this, and Thanksgiving's coming up, so if you like to make pickles, this is a good time. And so this is about 5 pounds. So the recipe that you'll find in here for the small batch is for 5 pounds. So if you only want half, then that's half. So you'll take the cabbage and make sure you wash it really well, and then I'm going to just show you on this, but in reality. So you would take the outside leaves. You don't usually need them. I just want to start with nice leaves. So I usually just throw away, or compost if you can compost it. And then we're just going to do a little bit. I can show you. But, so you have your cabbage. And then, this is what I like to use. So this one is easy because you just go like this. just have to watch your fingers, but it makes really fine shreds.
Very nice.
Yeah, so it's
Is
handy.
that from like a spiralizer or what do they call it, medallion?
Mandolin.
Mandolin.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I've seen them even at like TJ Maxx or, Ross's, places like that. A lot of times they just have it.
Sometimes they'll have a knobby thing that you put on top
Yes,
of
to
the vegetable,
hold
so
it.
you're less
Yeah.
likely to slice
Yeah.
yourself.
So sometimes, yeah, and if you can find one with that handle on it, it feels a lot safer because this is how sharp it is.
Mhm.
So it is better to have something to hold it and then be able to do
They
it.
also have gloves.
Yes, I like to use gloves, especially
No, but
since.
special gloves for.
Oh, to
for-
prevent, yeah,
for
you're
from
right,
getting-
yeah. Yeah, so you can, do that. But anyway, you can either use a mandolin or just cut. And the next thing about making it at home is, you can make it as fine or as big as you like it. If you like it really crunchy, then you can make it a little thicker. If you like it really fine, then try using one of these. But that's basically what you would do. And then, to save time, it's like this. So this is a half batch. So the recipe here, it says 5 pounds of cabbage. So this is like half. 2. Right? And what you do is, really, it's beautiful because it's so simple. So I'm gonna put this aside. And so we're gonna pretend that we just sliced up that whole cabbage. Now, so here's about 1.5 pounds. So you slice up your cabbage. And then, let's see, we're gonna do 3.5 tablespoons of salt. We want this kind of salt. And if you go in the baking aisle, you'll see different salts. And this is usually sort of hidden in the bottom. So you have to look for it. But where did I find? I found this one at Walmart. So we're gonna do 3. This is half, so I'm doing 1.5. So 1.5. So you just put a little bit, right? Put the salt. The key is lots of salt. You want lots of salt because the salt is what preserves everything. It draws the liquid out, and that's the flavor. That's really sauerkraut. Real sauerkraut is just salt and that's it. The ones you buy at the store, sometimes they have vinegar and other stuff in it. But real sauerkraut takes some time. It takes about maybe 3 weeks. But that sourness comes naturally. Yeah. So you massage it, kind of give it the spa treatment. And get that salt in there and really squish it like this. And you can see, it looked like a lot of cabbage when we started. Well, already it's starting to shrink down. Right. So as you leave it, you'll get more and more liquid. And so just do that for a little bit. Okay. And this one, we're going to leave so I can show you. So it's like this. Just kind of squish it down. And the key to any kind of fermentation is you get this salty liquid, or whatever it's soaking in, the pickling liquid, and the liquid has to be above your vegetables because that keeps the air out. And then it does the slow ferment with the cheesecloth or a lid that breathes, because you want it to breathe. It's alive. And that's why, we say probiotics. It has all that healthy probiotics in it. Is coming from, where do they come from? They're just like in the atmosphere. They're just there. So even sauerkraut, depending on who makes it and where it's made, the flavor changes because your atmosphere changes. So, your very own will taste different from somebody else's. Even if you use the exact same recipe, it'll be a little different. But anyway, so we're gonna just leave this so that you'll see how the liquid starts to form. And after a while, so this is the same thing. This whole thing turns into this. So really, it looks like a lot, and you think, wow, that giant cabbage, but after it starts to shrink down, then it turns into this, so it's not as much as you think it is.
So there's no additional liquid in that?
There's
That's
no,
just the
it's
liquid?
all cabbage liquid. Yeah, there's no water, there's nothing else, it's just cabbage liquid. And then, if you don't have this springy thing, it doesn't have to be a ball jar, it can be anything. But the key is, you wanna make sure that it's submerged. So a lot of old-timey pickles, they use a clean stone, or you can use a plate. If you have something, wider, you can use a little plate and put a jar on top to push it down, which is sort of what I did here. See here. I just put like the jar on top. And as you leave it, you can see the liquid starting to form. There's not a lot yet, but slowly the liquid will.
When did you start that?
I started this last night.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not very long yet. But the cabbage produces a lot more liquid. Depends on also what vegetable you use, And if you don't have enough, then make some. So you can just make brine, which is just salt water, and add that. So this turns into this. And once it's like this, then you can leave it. And remember, this one has air holes. So you can either put like a cheesecloth if you don't have this kind of lid, and just cover it and then tie it or put a rubber band to hold it so you don't get any contaminants into it, but it'll breathe. And you can leave it out and wait, and it'll start to bubble. So it's spying itself in the jacuzzi.
And that is just cabbage
And salt.
and salt, but
Yeah.
you massage the cabbage.
Right.
Okay,
So you get that salt into, the whole thing,
okay.
and then
And it's-
everything has salt.
And it's not refrigerated?
It's not refrigerated in the beginning, so you can leave it, but you have to watch it. If it starts to look a little like suspicious, you might get like foamy, scummy stuff on top, and just take it off. I like to start it out, so like up a few days maybe, just watch it. Depends on how hot it is too. So if it's hot, it will kind of ferment faster. But I just leave it out like maybe like 3 days or so. And then I put it in the refrigerator, because it just makes me feel safer. You don't have to, but I like to. Just in the back of the refrigerator, and forget about it. And then in a few weeks, you're like, oh yeah, I made that sauerkraut. I wonder how it's doing. And take it out and taste it. And slowly over time, it will start to get the sour part, so it'll taste tangier and tangier as time goes by. But it's in the refrigerator, so you don't have to feel so anxious about it. But you use this recipe because it tells you, like the right proportion of salt to put, because if you skimp on the salt, then you will get funky things happening which you don't want. So to keep it safe, make sure you use the correct amount of salt, and a little more is okay, because if it's too salty for you, all you have to do is rinse it off. If you think, oh, this is salty, you can just put a little water and then squeeze it out, and then it won't be quite as salty. But if you don't have enough salt, the salt is the preservative. So then you're skimping on preservatives, and then things happen that you don't want. So that is the sauerkraut. So we're going to leave it here like this, and kind of see how much liquid it gives you by the end of the class.
So,
Yes.
I'm sitting here thinking that part of the reason for that ability for air to get in and out is also so it doesn't explode.
Yes, good point. Yes. Also.
Because it will.
Right, it will, because it starts to bubble. It's like making itself into, like this bubbly soda thing, champagne, like sauerkraut champagne. So it has to breathe. It has to breathe. So either, you get this kind of lid, or you get cheesecloth, or even, where's that here? Oh, let's see. That canning jar lid, I don't know where I put it. Here. Okay, the other thing you can do is just put cheesecloth, and then this, and this will hold it down. But the point is, you have to make sure it can breathe. And then after a certain point, you put it in the refrigerator. But just every so often, remember that it's in there and just open it, let it breathe, and close it again. And if you don't want to have a hole, because you're afraid it's going to spill, then just remember to just burp it like a baby. Then we'll be okay. Alright. So that was our first recipe. Rinse this off. Okay, but, you know, in patient society where we are, you don't want everything to take like 3-4 weeks a month. So, we're gonna do a second one. This is fresh red onion pickle. This is lately very popular. You go to a lot of places, they serve this on the side now. When I went to Dublin this summer, and it was on like, they had it in all kinds of stuff. It's just really popular.
My Irish ancestors would not have done that.
So this is the next one we're gonna try to make. So just to show you the progress of sauerkraut first. So here, right, that's where we start. It gets like this, and then in the end, here we have the sauerkraut. So, since it's just a few of us, if you would like to try it, I think.
And that was in, that,
This has been like, yeah, like a month.
but you did the things you showed us,
Yes.
and it was in the refrigerator. So do you drain the water or whatever?
I did just because I wanted it to fit in here,
Mm-hmm.
but I know some people drink it.
Oh, I bet it's good for you, right?
It's a little
Because
too
it's not-
salty for me.
Yeah.
to try.
I don't think it,
But, you know,
here you go.
I don't think it.
It's amazing how much whiter it becomes.
just slowly, yeah, it changes
time.
over time. And you can smell that sourness too.
Oh, wow, excellent.
So those are the, you know, eventually you'll see it changing. And depending on when you decide to, you could just eat it now and it would just be like crunchy cabbage, a little salt. If you wanted to eat it now, I would just probably take some, rinse it off because it's really salty.
It is salty.
Yeah. and-
It's excellent.
But
Well, I do
it's as
that with
simple as that.
the store-bought as well.
Mhm.
I rinse it off to get some.
Get the salt off, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a great preservative, but not necessarily great for your
Exactly.
blood pressure, so you might wanna do that. And that's fine, I mean, you know, you make it because it's yours, like you can do
Mhm.
whatever you want with it. I was gonna tell you, like, in the link that Mark is gonna send you, I put 2 extra recipes in there, and one was for miso soup. And miso, I just want to show you other countries, how they ferment things. This is fermented, this is soybean made into a paste, and this has some rice in it, that's why it's white. And this is just the soybean, so it's red, so it's a little bit stronger. But
Where do you find something like that?
miso, actually, they sell it everywhere. This one's from Trader Joe's.
Okay.
And this is sweeter, the white miso is sweeter. And this is from Maido Market in Wynwood, in Ardmore.
Could you lift
But-
that up, Naomi, so I could see it
Oh,
on the
yeah.
camera? Yeah.
But
Oh, thank you.
If you go to any Asian market, and even the grocery stores now, you'll see it. They have miso just in the Asian aisle, they sell it. But this is a little bit, the red miso is a little bit stronger, a little saltier. The white miso is sweeter. So a lot of times, white miso is nice to use, kind of almost like a dressing. If you mix the white miso with a little bit of mirin, which is rice wine vinegar, or even just a little bit of something tangy, apple cider vinegar, and maybe a little sugar, it makes a nice dressing, or a veggie dip. And miso lately you see used often with Western food. You can mix it with cream and make like a savory cream sauce. And it's not so much a flavor as it adds like a depth to things. So if you feel like, sometimes you taste something's missing, I don't know what. If you add a little bit of miso, it gives it umami, it gives it like a deeper flavor note that makes it richer. And it's almost like if you were adding like a meat flavor, but it's not. So vegetarian people So anyway, I was going to introduce that to you. And then I also put a recipe on the online link to kefir, which you can see in stores now. It's like a yogurt drink, but it's not yogurt. So it's a different kind of kefir grain. And you can buy that at like health food stores. And it's very easy. All you need is that and milk. And
But don't you need the kefir grains
You
from
do.
somewhere?
Yeah.
Is it hard to get?
You kind of have to look for it. I mean, if you go online, you can probably order it easily.
I'm pretty sure Kimberton Whole Foods will
They might,
have it
yeah.
at their various locations, if you know Kimberton Whole Foods at all. I've seen
So-
it there, at least a couple of them.
I
Like
would, like, if you
grains for
really
that?
want to buy it, I would call first.
Grains?
The grains,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
the
under
kefir
grains,
grains,
yeah.
but
So it's like-
calling is good.
Yeah, calling is good. I went to the Whole Foods near me, but they didn't have it, because I wanted to show you, but they didn't have it. And, but, you know, there's so many health food stores, I'm sure if you call around a little bit, you'll find it. And that's all you need is kefir grains and milk, and then you leave it for like, you leave it on the counter for a day or so, and then it will turn slowly into like a yogurt drink. But it's a different kind of probiotic, but it's all live and active. You can't make it from the stuff they sell already in the bottles at the store. You can always add a little milk, you know, sort of thicken it up. But it's not the same. So you need to have the grains to make it. But then it's kind of like sourdough. You make it, and then you save it, and then you make it again, and it gets more and more, and you can start to share it with your friends and grow it. So anyway, those are some other things you can ferment. Okay. So the next recipe we're gonna do is this red onion pickle that's so popular suddenly everywhere. I thought, wow, this is like the thing now, so. Serve it for Thanksgiving. People are like, wow, you're so cool. All right, so I think you have this recipe.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Okay, and it's very easy. So you just need one onion, one large red onion, it says. I didn't have a large one, so I got two smaller ones. So you just have the onion, right? And then salt, sugar, and vinegar. And here, I wanted to show you, by changing the vinegar, you can change the flavor. So, here's 3 different vinegars. This is just regular Heinz white wine vinegar. This is Japanese rice vinegar, and then apple cider vinegar. So this is the, like, sharpest. It's got like a strong vinegar. This is very, very mellow. So it's a light, really like subtle flavor. And this is sort of in between, it's got a sweetness to it, sort of fruitiness. So depending on what kind of vinegar you use, you can change the way this is gonna taste. So our recipe here says, right, thinly slice the onion. So onion safety, cut it in half. Just a second. So, I'm sure you already know this, but in case somebody who watches this video doesn't know it, like I saw my daughter trying to cut an onion and it was very scary. She was trying to cut it round and it was slipping all over, and I said, you know, you can just do this. And it's a lot safer. So here we are, cutting the onion up. And when you cut an onion, I like to do it like halfway on this end, turn it, then do halfway on this end, because as you get towards the smaller end, it gets harder to hold. So I just like to do that, and that's not very thin, but it's good. I like it crunchy. All right, so we'll go like this. Turn. I feel like this is just safer. It's a little tricky because I'm wearing gloves. You hold the knife, hold it like a little cat's paw, hold it down, keep your fingers out of the way, and slice.
Could you also do that on the mandolin?
You
Or is
could.
that less?
It's Absolutely, you could. I should show you. I want to do it on here. Go like this. And you
Please
get
don't cut
really
yourself.
big. But it's very, very paper thin. So it's like see-through thin. And in this case, I think we want it to be a little bit chunkier, you know, just to get the crunch. Okay, so here we are. We have our onion. Put our onion in a bowl. That's step one. Okay. And then, all right, now we're going to add in our measuring cup. Boil the water. Okay. So here, we're going to mix. I'm going to do this time, this is white vinegar, just plain white vinegar. Now I'm going to try with apple cider. I can't open things right now.
We'll see, I have arthritis, but it needs to, something on top of it here. Let's,
Oh,
let me do this.
I can get it.
well, what you want, thank you.
Sorry.
Used
Ineffective.
to doing this at home all the
Ah.
time.
Yeah. And everywhere you go.
I often complain about
Thank
that.
you.
Sorry.
No, thank you for trying. All right, so here we are. We need 2 teaspoons, right, of salt. So we get, here's the teaspoon.
A different kind of salt now?
So this is just kosher salt,
Okay.
yeah, because that's what the recipe said. I don't want to mess with it. I don't think it really. But it's more about, like the kosher salt is a little bit coarser. So you have bigger crystals. So it won't be as salty as like say iodized salt. So we have 2 teaspoons of the salt and 2 teaspoons of sugar, which, did you know, these packets, that's 1 teaspoon.
Ah.
So, you know, sometimes you have coffee at the office or something, you get those big things and then those packets of sugar, so you're like, well, here you go, it's all measured. So easy, right? All right, and then we want to put 3/4 cup of vinegar. So we're going to use apple cider vinegar. Since this has been sitting, we'll just shake it up a little bit. And where are we? So we're going to do 3/4 cup. So here we go. Now, in the recipe it says to boil it, but we're not gonna boil it. It'll be fine, it'll dissolve. I did boil this, and the house will smell very vinegary, but also it'll take away any unpleasant odors after that, so vinegar is okay. Right. And like all pickles, salt, sugar, vinegar, those are all preservatives. So, do that. We'll pretend it's hot. Pour it over. Then, basically, just mix it up.
Is it optional, or you're just not gonna do it with putting it in like a heat-proof, stirring it to dissolve, bring it to a boil?
I think it's faster and since these are quick pickles,
Oh,
it'll cook it faster.
gotcha.
Yeah, and everything dissolves, you know, quickly.
I see. You're
And
just
it'll
skipping
soften
it.
it. I'm skipping it just because we don't have
Right.
a place to heat it right now. And I think if we heated it, I thought about it and thought, oh, this whole area is gonna smell like vinegar. People will not like us.
The children will be going.
Yes, we want to encourage them to read, so we're not gonna scare them away. So that's it. Okay, and then basically let it sit. So this is where this comes in. So you have this, then, and you'll see, like, just even in a matter of 20 minutes or so, it changes. So this was last night. I made this one last night. And it turns into this beautiful, just like purple and reddy color. And it goes really nicely on, I've seen it served in Mexican restaurants with tacos. When I was in Ireland, they served it on the side with Middle Eastern food like shawarma things.
Or falafel.
Falafels, yeah, just on the side. So a little tangy kick.
Shows up on salads here all the
Yes.
time. I think
It's
as
nice and
much for the color, actually, as
Mhm.
for the flavor.
It's beautiful, you know?
It is.
And even if you chop up some, and if you do like eggs, you know, like the deviled eggs, you can give it a little color and a little tang, almost like relish. It's basically the same thing because it's got a sweetness to it. So it's like an onion relish. So we put it here.
Did you start out last night with the jar as full as this now is?
Yes.
Fascinating.
So it just goes, this was what I started with last night. And then this is what I ended up with this morning.
Very cool.
But the liquid's not covering it.
No, but you know, you shake it and there's enough stuff in it that it'll start to soften. And what I did do though, because I started this first, and then I did this, and then I made the other stuff. And I came back to this and I squished it down. So, like you saw me just shake it up right now. And then just, look, just, you know, just in that little bit. See how much it's reduced itself? And if you put it hot, it shrinks down even faster and further. So, I mean, now it's already, see? Covered, yeah. So it's just tamp it down. And then, normally I don't think I would choose that unless I was heat processing. If you go to the store, they sell these plastic lids too. And I like the plastic ones for things that are vinegar. So you can find them, they just sell them separately. So here we are. We have the, okay, and I want you to taste it. So, do you have your plates?
Yeah.
Give you a little serving. Oh, where did I put those forks? Oh, here they are. All right, so, first, you have to taste it so you know what it's supposed to be.
Small is good. I'm not a big onion fan. Love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So,
Thank you.
So pretty.
it is really pretty. It's nice on a salad, you know, you don't need a lot.
I wonder if the boiling it also sort of blanches the cabbage almost.
It does bring
in
the
that
color out.
Real quick.
Yeah, it helps to bring the color out too. So, I mean, you know, I didn't blanch it with the hot vinegar, but it'll still work. But if you really, you know, follow this recipe and you get that, and that's really what you're aiming for.
That's actually yummy.
And it's not as like sharp oniony as you think it would be,
Mhm.
because it's mellowed out and you know, and it's soaked so that like spiciness is gone and that kind of bite is gone. And it's a lot easier to eat. Yeah.
If you were gonna serve it like on the side, would
Uh-huh.
you just chop it smaller?
You could, you
Yeah.
know, or
Okay.
like if you want to put a hot dogs or something like that, it'd be
It's,
really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause it's really good.
Chop it up. Or if you just like the long, you know, the length of it, you
Yeah.
just put a little bit on top and just decoration and flavor.
And this is just onion?
That's it.
Really well.
Yeah. So it's just red, it's this red onion. And you know, basically pickling is just salt, maybe vinegar and sugar. And then if you like other flavors, you know, you can add. I mean, there's nothing that says you can't change it. If you want to add garlic, you know, or if you want to add dill or fennel or coriander, whatever, it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
So your favorite flavors, just put it in, try it, you know, and it's not a lot, so you don't have to feel committed to it. You know, you can experiment. You know, it's like, I wonder how it would be with cinnamon. Try it. It might be good.
It might.
You know, you never know. You know, I mean, I never thought salty caramel would be good until I had it, and then I was just like, wow, it's really good.
That was a real brainstorm on somebody's part.
Yeah, somebody taught me to make bacon in the oven and pour maple syrup on it, and I thought, what? It's really good. Then I went to this bakery where they had cinnamon buns with bacon on it,
Ooh.
which I thought sounded awful. And the lady said, this is a bestseller, you have to try it. And my daughter was like, come on, Mom, just buy one. I bought one and I ate it. And I thought, oh, brilliant, so good. All right, so these are the different vinegars. All right, so that's our onion.
I will comment that I have pickled garlic cloves.
They're
And
good.
they're very good,
Yeah.
but some of them have a peculiar reaction to the vinegar and they turn blue. And they're still okay to eat,
Yes.
but they're weird looking.
Yeah, yeah. It might be, I don't know, don't quote me because I'm not sure, but like how old the garlic is possibly.
No idea.
I'm not sure. I've had that happen too.
Yeah.
And I've pickled garlic, and pickled garlic is not, like raw garlic, you know how it's like really spicy and strong, and pickled is very mellow. And so I've done garlic with this vinegar, which is a mellow vinegar, the rice vinegar, and put in, if I want it to be a different color, perilla leaves are purple. And that's a Japanese kind of basil, Asian basil. But it has a fragrance to it, and has a beautiful purpley color to it, kind of like this. So it makes the garlic this kind of reddish, pinkish color. It's really pretty. But be creative. You know, cooking is all about just adding what you like. So it's fine to do, just experiment. And you're not, one little onion is not gonna put you out there, so don't worry about it.
What was that last thing, that pickled garlic with, what was the?
It's called shiso, S-H-I-S-O, and it's a red, sometimes they call it Asian basil, or Japanese basil. And
Fairly big leaf with,
Yes. It's
what do you
like
call those, serrated edges?
serrated edged red leaf, and it has a beautiful aroma to it, kind of like how you would use basil, you know, it's got that scent to it, and it has a nice flavor, and it's often used the same way as basil is, you know, to kind of freshen up the flavors of things, or if you have something fishy, it kind of helps to cover that smell up and make it, you know, pleasant. But it's very nice, and be careful because it's kind of invasive, so grow it in a pot, but it'll come back every year, and it adds a nice flavor to things. You can even just put it, it's interesting, you can boil it, and it makes this horrible, like almost black colored tea. Then you squeeze lemon in it, and that squeeze of lemon instantly turns it into this kind of pink color. And add honey, and it's just this like really beautiful drink. So, you know, a little fun chemistry experiment. Okay, so next one we're gonna do is called asazuke, and I think you have that recipe. And that's just like a Japanese pickle. So in Japan, for any meal, you have rice. And this is the one that I did in asazuke. This is from one of my favorite sites. It's called Just One Cookbook. And so far, all the things I've tried on this site have been spot on. So, yeah, it's really good. But anyway, asazuke is any kind of vegetables you have. Crunchy vegetables work best. So here, I use so these are the ingredients I use. All right. So this is called kombu. Kombu is like a kelp, and you can or don't have to use it, but it adds like a depth of flavor. It's not fishy. It's not seaweedy or salty. It just adds like a second flavor to things. And it's so dry. This is one kind. It's like a thick kelp, just this solid piece. You don't need a lot because when you rehydrate it, it expands. So just a tiny little bit. Like if I were gonna make this, I would probably only use like that much. That would be more than enough. And this is another one that, you know, sometimes it's sold like this. And you can find these at most Asian markets. I haven't seen them commonly in the supermarket, regular supermarket. So this is more a little bit specialized. Soy sauce. And so I just took the vegetables that I happen to have. And I thought it would be fun. It's from my garden. Pepper. Carrot. I bought a whole bag of red onions, so I had to use it. Turnip. But I wonder how that would be. So I tried the turnip. This is daikon radish. Daikon radish is not like the little, you can use the radishes, you know, the little red bell radishes that they sell. But I wanted to show you, a lot of Asian food uses this radish. It's called daikon. And it's bigger, like this. So this is a radish too. It's not too spicy. Sometimes it can be spicy, but lately it's kind of mild. You know, it's just crunchy, like a crunchy, not so sweet carrot. But anyway, it comes in different varieties. So this is a Korean one. It's firmer and bigger, rounder. The other kind you see sometimes in the store is long and skinny and a little bit whiter, like icicle daikon. And those are more watery and a lighter flavor. These are better for pickling because they don't have so much water in them, so they stay crunchy. But use whatever you got. So this is this. And then here's the parsnip. And then I had some hot pepper. So just a little bit. And then lemon. So to make asazuki and ginger. So here's ginger. This is my little knob of ginger. So to make this is pretty much all you need. So what I did was, and then, if I didn't do it for this, because I wanted it to be vegetarian. So if you have people who don't want any kind of, animal product or fish product, you can just do this. Sometimes, if you add fish oil, or fish sauce. This is Vietnamese fish sauce. This is pretty strong, so you can smell it. It's made from fermented anchovies.
Ah, yes.
And that's quite strong. Yeah.
Rejoice.
That's okay.
But you can also find something called dashi, D-A-S-H-I. Dashi is also the same thing. It's like a fish base, but it's in powdered form, and you dilute it. And this is often used, like especially in Japanese cooking, they use it a lot for that flavor, the umami. It's not strong. So anchovies give things flavor without tasting fish. I mean, it smells awful, but actually you only use a little bit, and then it gives things this depth and a nice flavor. So you can buy it in powdered form, which is not as smelly. Or you can, you don't mind it, you can just buy it like this. So those are your two choices. But
So the things you're doing right now,
Yeah.
you just, do you have them written down somewhere?
yes, that's the recipe. That it says everyday Japanese pickles.
Because I know, is dashi in there, or?
Dashi is not in this. It says kombu. Kombu is this, the seaweed. But, if you don't have this, that's okay. If you have dashi, that's nice. If you have fish sauce, that works.
Okay.
This is just, sort of think of it as a basic guideline,
Right.
but you can veer from it. If you don't have those things, just use a little soy sauce.
Okay.
Like
Is dashi like D-A-S-H-I?
Yeah. So you can just, a little bit of soy sauce adds flavor too. And basically, very easy. All you do is, so asazuki just means, I'm just gonna, asa means morning, and zuki means, well, it means it's been, cooked or pickled in, or you eat it with something. So basically, this is how I do it. So that's parsnip. And you can make it however you like, as thick as you like. If you like it super crunchy, if you like it more delicate, a bit thin. But, okay, so this is the daikon. And yeah, I'm not even being precise. It's okay. Okay, rolly carrot. You don't want it to roll. So smart thing to do is start cutting it in half. And then I think this time I'm going to try to make strips. There we go. And this is just a very basic pickle, so we add some. And whatever you have, celery, onion,
Kohlrabi,
kohlrabi.
I would think, only because I have a kohlrabi, I don't know what I'm gonna do with.
You know, like, a lot of times, you know, you use vegetables for a recipe and then you have just like a little bit of leftover this, a little bit of leftover that. This is a perfect way to use it. You
Did
just
you use
throw it
beet?
out.
Did you use beets?
Yes, I love beets.
Okay.
And actually, I have a pickle that I made with beets that I'll show you. Okay, so you get the idea. Do all that. And then ginger, very nice to have. And you can peel it or just use the back of your knife. My friend, this one's not working too well, showed me a way where she does it. She just uses the back of a spoon and just kind of scrubs it with a spoon and gets the skin off. Or you can just wash it really well and scrub it. It's okay too. Just make sure you wash it good.
I used to spend so much time peeling it, and then I ran some website, why bother? And I quit doing it, and I'm like, it doesn't matter.
It
As
doesn't
long as
matter,
you clean
yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
it's really old and hairy. I mean, occasionally
Okay.
I'll have one that's been around a long time and then I do peel it, but
Okay.
yeah, no,
But
I
other
rarely
than
do.
that, I just, yeah, I'm like, yeah, just
Yeah.
chopping up.
And it
Make
smells
tea.
so good.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So the ginger, I usually just slice it up, you know, small, fine. Because ginger pickle tastes good too, so it's not like you can't eat the ginger. So just a little bit, chop it up, make it small. There you go. Okay, throw the ginger in. And then we just put. We're just gonna put a little bit of, for this one, I'll put a little bit of, I prefer dashi, so I'm gonna put a little bit of dashi. Or you can put fish sauce, whatever you like. Okay, just a little, and taste it as you go. You'll know when it tastes right to you. Some salt. And because this is a quick, like very easy, you're gonna eat it right away kind of pickle. Just like that. Pinch it.
Smaller percentage of salt.
And just right, a pinch, depends on how much you're making, but just sprinkle it, think, oh, that feels right, that's good. Massage it, we like to give our vegetables the spa treatment. So give it a nice massage. And then, now, right now, I'm not gonna put it in because this is dry. So usually when you use kombu, you have to just let it soak for a little bit and then get soft. But this is what I like to use. Lemon zest. So, see the part of the lemon that has a lot of flavor? So you just take a little bit of lemon zest. Like this. Chop it up real fine. And if you really like lemon and you like that flesh flavor, it's really fresh, you know, like smell, squeeze some in there. That smells nice. Covers up the vinegar smell. Here we go. Put some lemon. Massage it a little bit. Taste it. basically, that's ready. You
Wow.
could eat it right now. If you like soy sauce, you can put a little soy sauce. So here, try it.
So the acid is just lemon juice, no vinegar.
You can. So I like this lemon. I like it with a little lemon. You can also, if you don't have lemon, any kind of vinegar. This is the mildest.
I
always have this.
have a family member who won't eat vinegar,
Oh.
so the lemon
Yeah.
actually is intriguing me, that's.
So here.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's very light.
Smells good.
Yeah.
It does smell good, it smells great.
And very fresh, right? So it's kind of nice and fresh flavor too. Okay, while you're munching, let's just circle back to our friend sauerkraut. Here, now you can see like already how much liquid has come out. We're gonna keep mixing it every now and then to see how much more liquid comes out. This is back here. This we're done. So that's the Japanese recipe. Yeah, what do you think?
Oh my
Love it.
goodness.
Yeah. And then if you want to,
So
like,
good.
put your herbs in, you want garlicky, you want horseradish, you just add it.
So good, isn't it?
You like it? Oh, good,
It is
I'm
so
glad.
good.
Yeah.
That is great news. All right. So I'm saving the most complicated for last. So here, now we're gonna make, just clean up a little bit. And so you can serve it right away, just like that, and
Yeah.
it was so quick, right? And it's just whatever you have. You don't even need a lot, because it's it turns into a lot
Yeah.
by the time you're done. So even using just like a little bit of leftover vegetables, you get all that. I mean, we didn't even, you saw how much we used. We hardly used anything, and we got all that. So
And then, can that be kept for a while in the refrigerator
Yes.
to?
you can, and
Deepen?
I would put it in the refrigerator, because we didn't add a lot of salt. We
Right.
just added enough salt to taste good. So this is something you wouldn't leave out. You would leave it in the refrigerator. And you can leave it for, like a week or so. And it will, if you want it to keep it longer, just make sure the liquid starts to cover it. If it's not enough liquid, you wanna make it more like a pickle, then add brine or vinegar or to make it covered. And any pickle, the longer you leave it, the sourness starts to come out. So it will start to get a more tangy taste the longer it's left in there. And remember to burn it every so often, it's a baby. But I don't think it'll last that long, because it tastes good.
Yeah, that's just really
Okay,
good.
so this is the one I made last night. This has the kombu. The kombu is that seaweed, and you can kind of compare the flavor. This one, I didn't put,
Timer, huh?
so this one I didn't put any lemon. I put just lemon zest. So you can try that. Then I just put whatever, cucumber and stuff.
And some cabbage or something?
I put cabbage, cucumber, there's cabbage, and daikon, parsnip, and then the kombu.
Fish sauce, or the kombu?
Yep, yeah. And this does not have fish sauce. So this one is just like a little bit of salt
And ginger.
and ginger. The ginger and salt and the lemon zest are the most flavorful. And if you want it to be a little salty, you can always add soy sauce.
Okay.
But you can taste the difference, right? When there's a little bit of fish sauce, you have like more flavor in it, and it doesn't taste fishy. And then, this is none, this is just vegetarian.
It's depth, what you said.
Yeah.
It's like a complicated taste,
Mhm.
yeah.
And you can't place it, but it tastes better.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's definitely different.
Yeah. Okay, so it is 7:30, but I did bring things for kimchi, so would you like to watch how to make kimchi?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do it really quick. All right. So kimchi is spicy fermented Korean style pickles. Now, I made this. And this too is one of those jars that, has a little air hole. And to keep it submerged, I just used Ziploc bag with water in it to
That's
push down.
smart.
And that way, it keeps it down, but it works. And this is food safe, so, it's very good food. All right, kimchi is usually like this, so it's very spicy. But this is before we put this red pepper. So there's nothing in the rule book that says you have to make it spicy. So if you don't like spicy or you can't handle too much spice, you adjust it to how you like it. But this is before we put this in. So I thought it would be interesting, just for you to get to taste what it tastes like when it's not spicy. And it's still really good. So, this is tricky. Now, all right.
This is the same thing you get red chili pepper flakes, same thing like in the spice aisle? If say you just go to the Giant?
It's different from
different.
the Mexican one. It's not smoked.
It's not what?
It's not like smoky flavor.
Oh.
So this is just dry. I did have to go to the Korean store to get it. And they sell it, that's the smallest you could buy. Because they use it a lot, So I had to buy the smallest one.
Is that an Exton or where is that from?
H Marts, there's a lot of H Marts all over the place. Also ASSI, A-S-S-I. But I just use Google Map. And then on the GPS, if you put like Asian market, they'll all pop up.
There's an Aussie toward Norristown, Ridge Pike maybe?
And then I think near King of Prussia, there's also I know there's an H Mart in Upper Darby, and there's a bunch of them all over. So if you put H Mart, that comes up all over the place. And ASSI is another big one.
Yeah.
And they'll guarantee have it. So that's where you would buy it. It's the smallest you can buy. But what I do is, if I know it's something I'm not going to use a lot all the time, it's dry, so you can put it, in your pantry or in your freezer. So I put a lot of my spices because stuff that I don't use all the time, but I want to have just handy. I just put in the freezer, and it keeps. All right, so this is the kimchi before it's spicy, and it has daikon and carrots. Thank you. And nappa cabbage.
And how long has this been?
This is just overnight.
Okay.
So here's daikon. Did you get some carrot and daikon?
I did, yeah.
I didn't get carrot, but I definitely get daikon.
Thank you. Here, have a carrot. Oh, so taste how it tastes.
Did you say there were apples or pears?
Yes, so this one has some green apple. So I followed the recipe.
Thank you.
Yeah. And this is the kimchi recipe. This one is, there are so many, it's kind of like spaghetti sauce or a lot of things that people, hand down. So every family has different recipes. But this is the recipe I got from New York Times.
Okay. So this, a third cup of Korean red pepper, that's that
Yes,
in this recipe right here?
so that's this.
Does this have the fish sauce?
This does, yes. And then, okay, that's how it tastes before. And this, I have this thing that keeps it submerged. But this is how it tastes when it's spicy. I don't know how spicy.
With more.
This is with the red pepper. Yep, so this is with the red pepper. And
That's our
Give her a little
last,
piece.
our last taste is going to be the one that
Yeah.
is like, whoa.
Like that dragon kimchi at the Kimberton Whole Foods, which is really good but really spicy and looks that color.
So,
And is,
Dairy or
it's
salt.
very expensive.
and it shouldn't be expensive because
Yeah.
really, it's just cabbage.
Yeah.
So this, here's the ingredients. So I have it here. Right. Let me clear this a little bit. So we, spicy?
Oh, yeah.
I'm still working on the other one.
Whoa.
I'm working up to this.
So we make a sauce that you soak it in, and that's that. Sometimes you'll see a recipe where it calls for sweet rice flour, and that gives it more like a pastiness. So the recipe you have isn't pasty, but sometimes if you see other recipes, because there's so many, they might say you need rice flour, this is the sweet rice flour that you can add to it, and it makes it stick to the cabbage bed. Are you okay? You're
I'm
breathing.
fine, my nose is just gonna run now.
There's some
I've got, it's okay, thank you.
paper towels for everybody can use. Okay, the last one. This is what we use. So here's ginger. And the trick with ginger is, if you don't use it often, you can freeze it. So what I like to do is, I'll just peel the whole thing, and then you can either have the whole thing big like this, but I'll make some into slices so I can just use a slice or two and things. And some I'll keep the little knobs so that I can grate it if it says grated. And I just wrap it in some parchment and then put it in a freezer bag. And then leave it in the freezer, and when I need ginger, I can pull it out. Because you don't always know when you'll need it, and sometimes you need it and you just need a little bit most times. You know, so I like to buy it just big and fresh, and then just have a few different ways to be able to use it. And if you peel it, keep it in the freezer, it's really handy. Okay, so that's the ginger. And then I showed you the daikon. Okay. Alright, so let's just get this stuff out. Now, last one. This is napa cabbage. And we sell it at most supermarkets, it's not exotic or anything. But here, we're gonna use napa cabbage. And then, a neat little trick is, when you wanna tear it up, you can just cut it, just rip it apart like that. That's very easy. I already washed this, but if you're gonna make this, make sure you wash it. And then, first we're gonna just cut it up. Two slices, and this core, you can just take off if you don't want it. And just compost your core. And then, just like the sauerkraut, you're just going to do that. Pour your salt.
And that's the kosher salt?
Mhm.
Okay.
And same idea, just massage it in. And just like the cabbage, after about an hour to 2 hours, you're gonna have a pool of liquid in there. The difference is, okay, for the sauerkraut, you save that salty water, and then you put it in the jar, and you let it ferment. With this one, after about 2 hours, you're gonna get a liquid, and then you're going to rinse it off lightly. So it'll be really, really salty. and then you just put it in a colander and rinse it off, squeeze it a little bit, not too much, because you want to keep some liquid, and taste it. And when you taste it, it should be salty but not painful. So right now, if you ate it, it would be just like, make you choke. But after you rinse it off, it'll just be like a pleasant salty, a little bit salty strong, but not so much that you're gonna feel like you're gonna choke on it. Okay, and that's just right. Okay, so you're not keeping that salty water for this, in this recipe. And then, so let's pretend, okay, that we salted this already and the juices are in already. And then it turns. Then you're gonna have this soft napa cabbage. And then to that, you want carrots. So you're gonna turn the carrots into strips. So you slice them across. Just about that much. You don't have to make it really skinny. You just want to julienne them. Okay, so you got carrot sticks. Carrots.
You make it look easy now, but how much work did you have to do last night getting everything ready?
Yeah, it's not bad though, you know, you just like rinse everything off, and it did take time, but.
It's
the
called
good thing is-
mise-en-place or something, whatever that word is.
Mirepoix
Mise-en-place.
for,
Something where all that, the work you do ahead of time.
Meal prep, I think is what the
Yeah,
current
but
word
there's a word,
is.
there's
but
a term for it, cause I went to a QVC, cooking demo, and she said the mise-en-place, whatever they do.
Oh,
It could be-
mise en place.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, you cut everything up and have it ready, yeah, so
Yeah.
that you can just put it all in as you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, here, and I'm doing that, just rough chop. You know, it doesn't matter, because it's gonna alter into pickle. Okay, so, you have the daikon, right?
We close in about 15 minutes.
Okay. And then you put in some onions, if you want. Like that. All right. What's this? I think I even put some, okay. So, last part is, now, we make the sauce. So it says, use an apple. And the apple adds like a tang and a sweetness at the same time. If you use Asian pear, if you've ever had it, that
Yeah.
also is like a light sweetness. It's a pleasant sweetness. So all you do is rough chop all this stuff. So we got apples, right? And then we have some ginger. Some garlic. So here, you're just gonna put this all in. I'm gonna blend it up. It's apple, ginger. Since you're rushing, I'm not following the recipe exactly. You get the point.
Yes. And we have the recipe.
Yes, and you have the recipe, so I'm just showing you what happens. So you're gonna do that, and do that. Fish sauce. This one. And basically, you just zap it. Oh, would help. And then see how it gets foamy?
yeah.
That's
So
it.
you added a little bit of hot water.
I did just because I wanted it to blend up quickly.
Okay,
Yeah, but you can just add fish sauce,
okay.
and that's basically it. And then put it all in there. Now the trick is, remember I said it has to soak. Now, so all the liquid will come up, and over time it's gonna get more and more liquidy, and it'll get kind of like, where's our, it'll come like this, it'll come like this. And you wanna just make sure your vegetables are submerged in the liquid, because if the vegetable is floating above, it can go up. So make sure it's submerged. And then kimchi, you can leave it for a couple days out. Make sure you burp it or put a cloth on it and let it ferment. The longer you leave it, the more sour it gets. So a lot of times, like Korean people make big gallons of these. And the beginning one is fresh, you just eat it fresh with rice or whatever. And as it gets sour, there are different recipes for that. So they'll make like a stew with it, the sour kimchi, or they fry it with some oil and rice, and you can make kimchi fried rice. But eventually the flavor just like matures and it changes. So you can enjoy it like over time in a different way. But that's it. And then I did, try this too. The last thing I made, because I thought it would be fun. This, I wonder if you can guess. I put beets. And
You were talking, you said you love beets.
I love beets. And it just has such a beautiful flavor or color, you know, that pink. Okay, so can you guess what that vegetable is?
Cucumber.
Right? It's family of cucumber. This is actually watermelon, but it's that white part of the watermelon. So we usually eat the red part, right? There's that part right before the rind where it's
Yeah.
white. And I just take the hard rind off because if you're too close to the rind, it's hard and weak.
Right,
But that white part,
yeah,
the white part is like cucumber. But it doesn't get as squishy as cucumber,
yeah.
you know? So it keeps crunchy and it's got a nice like
good.
mouthfeel.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
And just to add color, I put some fresh beets and I just cut it up and put it in.
There you
Oh, wow.
So there you go, we made a mess.
Oh.
But don't be afraid, use what you got. As long as you have some salt, a little sugar, you can even put, like this is sesame seeds, little sesame seeds on top, that's a different kind of flavor to something like the fresh vegetable, this one. But throw your own thing in and you can make, once you start making it, you get the hang of it, and then just be creative, put whatever you have.
Wow, that is good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad you came. made
Thank
it
you for
worth
cooking
it.
at the library, yeah.
I'm glad I came.
Yeah, library is great.
Me too.
All right.
The libraries are the best.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.